I'm just going to free associate and speak my mind. It's November 23rd. I'm the Truth Wizard. I appreciate my entire community, all 1,600 of you realists. Hit the like button if you are feeling malaise and frankly strung out from all the AI generated slop on YouTube. What a time to be alive. I'm witnessing it alongside all of you, this insane circus clown show, which is unpredictable by the week. And rather than get into the nitty gritty of last week in collapse and different metrics to evaluate, I'll put a link in the description. Instead, I'm going to just vibe out and talk about life, values, vibes, relationships, how I got here, fully recognizing the psychosis present everywhere in our society in late stage dying capitalism, empire. It's everywhere. And only until you've completely digested the information and gone through your own cycles of grief can you look at it objectively for what it is. And it's just a mixture of bias, apathy, cognitive dissonance, alienation, isolation. No single thing puts us where we're at. So I want to back up to 2020 when I woke up and realized keenly that we were on a one-way ticket to hell, that we weren't reducing emissions or employing carbon reduction machines. We weren't carbon dioxide removal technology. We weren't enacting any sort of policy change, and we had these conference of parties, which are now just hearsay, speak about giving money to poorer nations, and saw the trajectory that my generation was on, which is not tenable. Before that, I was enrolled in community college and going to university as soon as I completed my associates to become a journalist and report on science and technology. Now I'm just a purveyor, reading the latest articles and publishing content on this platform. Why I chose this one? Because I felt it was much more intimate than Facebook or any other Reddit thread with just text and avatars, although that's what many of you are. I've actually had the honor of speaking to many of you and actually meeting in person and feeling the vibe that everyone else was feeling, which was doom. We are all in this together. Seeing through the lens of collapse has set me outside of the norm, though I think it's much more common now. People are prepping for a variety of reasons, not to mention the French ministry just warned its citizens to prepare for a mass casualty event by March 2026. I want to switch gears to women. And despite being single for several years, I'm not flexing. It's been a personal journey into my own spirituality and coping mechanisms. Honestly, everything's pretty funny at this point. I'm mature enough to find humor in most situations because I can rise above it. I already know what's happening and the patterns are pretty obvious now. You know, it all becomes pretty mundane, living this tepid experience of psychosis and confusion, feeling gifted and alienated at the same time. I just want to backtrack through a relationship I had in my early 20s. Said woman is now in LA taking selfies on her social media platform near constantly. Much more rewarding than having a long-term relationship. You know, the priorities people have. I'm not a victim. I'm not complaining. I'm just really in awe at the things that we choose for ourselves. That was rather hard coded into us from our DNA. That, you know, self-aggrandizement and just narcissism, frankly. You know, knowing this woman, I know that she can't be questioned, and she is the kind of dominant all-authority speaking figure in the relationship, and surprisingly finds themselves alone. What do you know? If you try to act like God in a relationship, then people aren't really vibing with that in 2025, nor do they want to work for minimum wage in a toxic and hostile work environment, which is why so many businesses are closing, because they're insolvent and the culture at large is too dysfunctional to operate. So I'm completely upfront. I live with my cat alone in the forest, and over a year now, year and a half in New York State, can have bragging rights about that I did it, was mentally prepared for years to do this, because our social fabric is so frayed and disconnected. It was much easier. I was already prepared, just fend for myself essentially out here. Though I do have supportive neighbors when I need them, and I appreciate their company so much. I'm not one to reach out and beg for help or anything like that. I understand women don't want to rough it. They can camp for a few days. I might be able to find a outdoorsy, rugged type cowgirl that, is into that sort of thing, but not long term. This is old style, old world living, But then again, the Amish do it, but they have this faith that keeps them going, a religious preference that fuels them, I guess. At least I have some companion. My cat is extremely affectionate and wants attention, and vice versa. I guess I do too. She was always the cat I was looking for. I was waiting, holding out for the right one that wasn't crazy. I'm not sure where to start with a woman, what I would even begin to say now if I went on a date again. I can't even imagine going on a date, like what I would even say. I've been living off grid for over a year. It's a pretty extreme lifestyle. I'm a full-blown, full-spectrum doomer, realist. God, I sound like that other guy. And I'm not trying to. And I'm prepping to have at least 2 or 3 weeks of safety when society collapses, when a world event like multiple wars raging, nuclear bombs going off, food supplies shortening. I'm looking to sustain out here. So I'm sacrificing now the vacations to Bermuda to meet these fine women, or whatever, Jamaica. I don't just pick a destination spot. It doesn't matter. London. Do I even want to go there? I'm sacrificing that sort of expenditure here to prep for that time later. I'm investing in my future, right? Not with a 401k or retirement plan, because that shit's not going to be around. No way, no how. A country nearly 39 trillion in debt, because it's rising every day, is going to finance its way. No matter who was president-elect, they both raised the national deficit extremely in their terms compared to other, unless we're in wartime footing. Let me get back on track. It's a dead-end road. The whole financial banking system, AI, money, safety, as any millennial and younger person really feels, if their eyes are even halfway open, they can see that none of this is sustainable. So I would have to have a candlelit dinner with a funny, helpful, energetic, kind, not self-serving woman who I'm attracted to, and explain to her that we are heading into fucking doomsday. Tell me how that would go. Or should I just stick with this one? I mean, seriously. What else do you need? A community. That's what you need. All of you here over and over. Doesn't matter what I talk about. Just simply being, living through late 2025. Next year is going to be fucking bonkers. And no one knows what happens next. No one knows how these pieces fall, or that's the mystery, the surprise about it all. And that's what I'm really living for, is to see what happens next. I will never own a home, be married, have kids, have a retirement. When you deduce your life down really to like what's essential, it's community, friends, having pleasant experiences, cooking good meals, having successful hunts, volunteering, giving back, unlike billionaires who hoard all this money and go to conferences and brag about it to other people who also hoard lots of money. I've tried really hard to avoid the mental pitfalls despite my journey into acceptance, going years teetering back and forth between blame for people not accepting the predicament that we're in, that they're just stupid and like useless humans. Frankly, if you're not conceptualizing objective reality and you can't digest you can't understand fully what it means, then what good are you? I had that argument for years on this channel. And I would normalize violence too. So I'm guilty, given my last video's content. See, affectionate all the time like this. I didn't lose sight of what my objective was coming here. It was a mental reprieve and enjoying a form of retirement, because we aren't getting that privilege. And frankly, neither are many boomers trying to retire now. No woman's gonna move out here to the boonies and boil water and fucking charge lights. Was it all worth it? Would you do it all over again? Tough questions. No real answers. But the spectacle goes on. Keep the popcorn coming. Try to be a good person, even though that's a gray line. Morality's blurry sometimes. What's the right decision? And enjoy now, because the future is the worst times that humans will ever experience. And that's even worse than the wars of Mongolia and World War II. What we have coming is all of those things combined. It's the end. By 2040. Yeah, that's real. By 2050, it'll be complete fucking Mad Max. Unless you can make a channel and prove to me otherwise that we are making substantial strides in reducing carbon, or finding some perfect system for managing millions of people, like better than democracy, because we've corrupted that. Unless you can prove, like, make a full analysis of some better way to do this, every single indicator points to me that we're cooked meat sauce. We're here together, watching this shit in real time. I may take a little break from this for a minute, go do some other hobbies, and like I said, hunting, and always a project to do around here. I gotta insulate the ceiling and all that. Reach out. We can talk anytime. I'll see you later.